Good morning. I'm early. I'm always early. Well, that's not true. I'm either early or late. I'm very rarely on time. So I get excited about things and I want to start. So hello everybody. How is everybody? I've just had an email to say that Kittenish Behaviour has gone live. That's good. That's good. There's 6 of you here already. And yeah, how is everyone? I went to see Top Gear. No, I did that again. I went to see Top Gun last night, Top Gun Maverick. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. In fact, I loved it so much that I came out of the cinema, sat in the car for 20 minutes and then went back in and watched it again. I have a Sony World Pass and I didn't use it for the first sort of 3-4 months of the year at all. So I have used it a lot this month and the end of last month, a lot. But yes, twice in one day, and seeing it back to back like that, I didn't get bored. It was brilliant. It was so good. So good. So yeah, definitely going to take mum and dad back to see it. Lisa's here. Morning, Shanklin, Peeps. Hope everyone is well. Very well, thank you, Lisa. How are you? I have always got dirty glasses. It doesn't matter how often I clean them, they are always dirty. So let's get these polished up a little bit. You can't have long dresses to clean the skirts, then clean glasses with. Oh, words are hard. Caroline's here. She says, morning, Shanklin, Peeps. From the Total Menagerie. Oh my goodness, words really are hard. Sedan has his brother and sister staying for the week. Oh wow, that's a lot of big dogs. That is a lot of big dogs. So yes. I have no idea what I'm going to do today. I've got my Kiwi Cobra Corsage Kiwi shirt out, which I could work on. I am just about to start the fiddly bits on the bodice of the 9076, but because that's a sew along as well as a proper video, I decided that I was going to not film that or try and sew that and film at the same time whilst hanging out with you guys, because yeah, no. So I'm thinking maybe I'll work on this shirt. Maybe I will just sit and chat to you. Might sit in fabric fondle. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? Fabric fondle today. Yes, many possibilities. Many possibilities. Haley says, good morning, Shine Peeps. Good morning. Lisa says, I'm good, thank you. I'm doing some cutting out today whilst I hang out with you. Rita shirt dress. Ooh, nice. I've not made that one. And I don't have the pattern for it, but I've always liked how they look on everyone that I've seen them on. Kathleen says, good morning from Illinois, Memorial Day weekend, and the Indianapolis 500 watching is on the agenda today. Nice. Yes, of course. It's bank holiday weekend here as well. Wow. We are going out for lunch tomorrow. Mum, her friend Susan and I, we're going to the Wishing Well, which is where they make the mermaid gin, and you can do a gin tasting. So I'm going all the way to the south of the island to collect Susan, and then I'm driving all the way to the north of the island to the pub. It's not going to take very long at all. It's totally fine. The island's not very big, but yeah, they're going to be doing a gin tasting. Leslie says, good morning, Shan and Peeps. Happy anniversary to Mum and Dad. Yeah, I get that autocorrect a lot, Leslie. It was Mum's birthday. Mum and Dad's anniversary is the 2nd or 3rd of June. And they've been married 44 years. I can't remember if it's the 2nd or the 3rd of June. Ooh. Michelle says, good morning. I'm actually sewing today. Shocking, I know. Oh, wow. Good morning. Mim says, good morning to everybody from Germany. Hello, Shan. Hope you're well. Very well, thank you. And then Bat7788 says, hello, welcome. From Korea. Good afternoon. Welcome. So yes, I saw Top Gun yesterday and I loved it. I saw it twice. It was so good. It's a shame Tom Cruise is so crazy in real life, but it was a really good film. If you haven't watched it, highly recommend. Highly recommend. Michelle's here. Good morning, folks. Good morning, Michelle. Trisha says morning, peeps. Good morning, Trisha. So yeah, it was brilliant. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Right, let's see. So I do have a bobbin in the correct colour, so that's good. My little organisation nerd needs me to put them, because the bobbin came from over here, so I needed to kind of move it over so that the empty slots are all in the right place. This is the amount of bobbins that have died on me, because these bobbins are the Benina Jumbo bobbins, and they have like this little silver, yeah, they have silver on them, which helps with the registration. And if the silver gets scratched or damaged in any way, the bobbin doesn't work, and the machine keeps telling you that the bobbin's empty. And it's, you can sew with it, but you have to just, the machine will stop every 7 stitches to be like, dude, bobbin's empty. And you're like, yeah, but it's not though, is it? And so you either have to count the stitches and then take your foot off the presser foot every 6 stitches so that it doesn't stop automatically, or hit a button on the screen. So it's great for when it actually works, but when it's the bobbin that's the problem, not the actual bobbin's thread capacity is low. It's very irritating. So yeah, they get put away, they get thrown away quite quickly when they start doing that. We have got, I've said hi to Trisha, sorry. Lollapalooza says good morning from Kincardine. Good morning. So yeah, I've got many things that I could do today. I'm not ruling out sitting and playing with fabric, because that is always fun. It is definitely always fun, but I do need to, whatever I do, clean out the machine and give it an oil, change the needle, and all that kind of stuff. So let's get that done. So, what is everyone working on today? 46 of us, wow. So yeah, I can't decide what to do today. I know I've played with fabric for the last couple of hangouts, and I'm definitely not ruling out that happening again, because we all know how I feel about fabric. Oh my goodness, the cloth edit, they have just put up a linen silk blend panel print. She'd offered me another gift voucher, and I'd said no, I'll buy my next one, because you've given me a $150 gift voucher, which is incredibly kind of you, and I would like to support you as a company and actually spend my own money. I am on a fabric buying ban until the Festival of Quilts, but I have never regretted saying no to a gift voucher more. Oh my goodness, I will show you this. In fact, let's, rather than just clean blue fluff out of my machine, let's show you pretty fabric. If it's still in stock in August, I will be buying myself some of this in August, because, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, look how gorgeous. It's a panel print, and it's just, I did actually go on to the website last night and have a look at it and see how much what I would want would cost, and it was £80, and then obviously around 20 odd quid for the shipping. So I was just like, no, fabric buying ban, behave yourself. You have restraint. You do have restraint. You have done it before. You can do it again. Like, yeah. But oh my goodness, that fabric is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if you guys buy it all, I very much doubt there's going to be some left by the time August comes around, to be honest. I probably will miss out on that one. But I'm being good. I am being good, because it's kind of like me sort of like, you know, proving that I do have willpower to myself more than anything, fabric buying bans, because we all know that what will happen is that I will end up spending the same amount of money when I can shop in August as I would have spent over the time up to August. You know, it's not like it's a money saving exercise. It's more of a, like, I do have the willpower to control myself and not be just completely abandoned to yeah. So it's so pretty. It's so pretty. But no, I'm going to behave myself and just hope that it will be there when I come back in August to buy some. And if it's not, then it wasn't meant to be. So was it meant to be? Right. Okay, bobbin is threaded, needle is in. Let's. Whoop, nearly lost the thread. That would have been a disaster. Right. Okay. Thread the machine. The only thing with this dress that I'm wearing is that you really do have to be careful that you don't roll over it with the chair, because it is a maxi dress. And yeah, my 8577s, every now and again, if I'm not careful about the skirts on those, I will roll over those as well with the wheels of the chair, which is fine if you notice, but if you don't notice and you end up pulling a thread or something, not great. Not great. Okay, machine is threaded. Right. Oh, see, just done exactly what I said I was trying to avoid. Oh, and I'm going to plug my phone in, and I'm going to tip you guys down just a little bit. Just a little bit. This is a really cleavage-tastic dress, isn't it? It's not so bad when you're face to face, but like maybe I shouldn't have tipped you down that much. That better? Sorry, didn't think when I got dressed today. I just wanted to wear this dress. Let's see. Caroline says, given how much those bobbins cost, Benina ought to replace the dead ones. Yeah, or they ought to make it in stuff that's not scratch offable. Yeah. Elk S Design says, hi peeps, always saw the Hangouts later and today catch it live for the first time. Ah, welcome. Natalie says, good morning from Toronto. Good morning. Caroline says, like the stream peeps. Yes, 68 of us and 24 likes. Lollapalooza says, planning on making summer bucket hats for my granddaughters. Oh, cute. So cute. Elk S Design, Elkie S Designs. I'm working on the Carter bag since yesterday. I love that bag. Kathleen says, hope to finish a knit top made from vintage quicksew pattern. Not fond of how the neckband and sleeve bands are applied, but will be okay for this top. Won't make this one again though. LKS Design says it's raining in Germany today. Much time for sewing. Nimble is here. Hello everyone, popping in from work today. Drawbacks of returning to normalcy. It's very nice to see you, Nimble. Eliza says, good morning from Ohio. After days of rain, finally a beautiful sunny day. Oh, lovely. Moran says, hello from Israel. I love your dress. What is the pattern? It's the McCall's 7974 and there is a sew along for it. And there's also the size comparison video for it as well. Kathy says, good morning from Pennsylvania. Good morning. Nimue says to LKS Design, whereabouts are you? Oldenburg seems to be through with today's rain already. Fingers crossed. And Nimue says, I'm in Kassel. half an hour ago it rained cats and dogs. Oh no. Right, okay, so yeah, I think I'm gonna maybe try and work on this shirt. It'd be really easy to play with fabric, but there's nothing new you guys haven't seen, and I don't want to bore you with constantly playing with the same fabric. Kind of want to get the lemon collection out again and make some plans with it, but like I say, don't want to bore you guys. I mean, fabric fondling is not a bad thing, obviously, but you know, there are limits, aren't there? Right. Oh, previous me's been really nice and put the dart marked in the darts already. That was nice of previous me. Jane says, hi all from Bristol, drawn out pattern for the wardrobe by me canvas jacket, going to try in a plain petrol canvas, then a precious canvas with turquoise and blue animal print. Ooh, nice. Moran says, I just bought it, yay. Oh, cool. Oh, the 7974, cool, awesome. Yeah, it's a lovely pattern. This one is with the front neckline raised up 1.5 inches. And I've added an extra inch to that for the next one because this is cleavage-tastic. Sorry, you guys are going to be getting many gratuitous shots of my cleavage today because this is a very cleavage-tastic dress. Sorry. Concentration phase while I actually try and sew and realise that I can't sew and talk at the same time. Neway says to LKS Designs, oh dear, we had that last night. Sewing in PJ says, I'm intrigued, what is the grey drawers behind you? Maybe I've missed the show and tell. I did do a setting up of the sewing room, like couple of videos last year because that's all I could do until we got back in here and were able to actually sew. I haven't done a full tour as yet because I was waiting for the door to be put on properly and also the sewing table top to be finished. And the sewing table top, we've worked out a new way of doing it that means that we don't have to use the spray adhesive, which I'm very pleased about because I was really worried about the spray adhesive. It's industrial strength and I didn't want to have to take everything out of the room and I didn't want to get like a fine misting of this industrial strength adhesive over all my paper crafting and fabric stuff. So we are going to put the vinyl or the linoleum, I can't say that word, onto the table like you would when you're covering a chair. So kind of pull it and nail it in from each side. And then we're covering those nails with like a trim, a smooth, rounded at the top trim so that fabric won't snag on the nails. We have thought of things. And then I'm going to be doing a sewing room tour. And it's kind of nice that it's going to be about a year after we first started sewing and moving in here, because I think it's officially been a year now. It's the 26th of May, I think, that I made my first coat in here. But anyway, these drawers, I've got like my overlocker threads back there. I've got my general sewing tools in here. So my Simflex, my string, I use string a lot in sewing, my bendy ruler, wonder clips. This is the pedals for the overlocker and cover stitch, which are up there. This one is thread, which is kind of just thrown in there. I've inherited a lot of thread from a lot of different people, and I very rarely use it because I like the thread that I get from Tyso. And then the bottom is the pattern drafting tools. Then we've got crinoline and horsehair braid and things like that. This is the stuff for press studs on my rivet press, hooks and eyes and safety pins, bra cups and shoulder pads. There's one that's got my really pretty shiny Swarovski crystal gems and stuff in it. and buy a couple of drawers of bias binding and self-covered buttons. So each drawer is kind of its own thing, which is nice. Right. Let's see. Where did I get to with the chat? Moran says, good to know. Basically, I am too blessed in that way. Lol. Yeah, the sew along that I did for this particular version with the collar and the sleeves is where I show you how to raise the front up. I really, like I say, the next one, I mean, I've got nice boobs. I don't mind this, but I am aware that it's a lot of cleavage on show. Although with this one, you can't actually see my bra, but only just. So I have raised it up by just a little bit more for the next one. But yeah. Sal says, good day, Sian and Peeps. Sorry for being late. There was a light show in Sydney Harbour with 600 drones and went to watch it. Very cool. Sewing in PJ said, sorry, where did you say you like your thread from? Okay, I get mine from Tysew, which is where I bought my sewing machine from, my 830. And it was just the thread that they stock. And they do it in packs of 5, packs of 10 for the individual colours. And then they do a box of 60 different colours. And I think it's £25. I have recommended this before because I love it. I use it for everything. I use it for embroidery. I use it for bag making. I use it for clothes making. I really like it. I've never had a problem. I've never had a bag fall apart on me. I've never had a problem with it. Mum hates it. It's really fluffy for her. It is fluffy, but then I have found all threads can be quite fluffy. However, I've recommended this in the past. People have bought the box of 60, tried it and hated it and wanted to send it back. So what I would recommend is that you buy maybe like one of their packs of 5, try the thread, see if you like it, and then go ahead and buy the bigger box, because I, like I say, use it for everything. I know not everybody loves it. So yeah. Excuse me. Lollapalooza says, my favourite purchase for sewing room is my thread organiser. They're a rainbow that brings me pleasure. Yeah, Mum's got one of those over under the window and it looks so beautiful. Mum's got the Isacord thread over there, which is an embroidery thread, and Mum sews everything with her embroidery thread, which I know you're not meant to do. But again, that's what she likes. That's what she sews with. It works for her. Who am I to say any different? So, you know, you learn the rules so you can break them, kind of thing. Right, let's get these darts sewn. Actual sewing on the channel within 22 minutes. What is going on? Yeah, the beginning of this year, my Sojo has really, I mean, I've made 30 things, I think, now, which is a lot of things, I appreciate. But for me, it's actually not that many things. But my Sojo has definitely kind of taken a back seat this year, for sure. And for days that I'm not filming, I've been really struggling to force myself to come down here, and I haven't been, which is good, because you shouldn't force yourself to do something if you're really not enjoying it, because the end result will definitely reflect that. But yeah, I definitely lost the Sojo this year, 100%. But it's one of those things. It happens. It happens. So it's slowly coming back, and you know, I do enjoy the final result. It's just the process recently that's been less enjoyable for me, but it's one of those things. It comes and it goes. So yeah. Okay, and I'm really liking how all the Cobra Corsage stuff has come out. Yesterday, I did film a little bit of a waffle, so you'll see it on Tuesday when the waffle comes out, but I wore my Savannah Renfrew t-shirt and Savannah viscose skirt circle skirt together, and I loved it. It was such a nice outfit. I felt really like happy in it. So that was nice. I do like clothes this time of year. Okay. Right. So they can go over there to be pressed. This is my back piece. I'm having to be really careful of my skirt so that I don't run over my skirt, because I really don't want to ruin it. That would be bad. That would be bad. So I told you guys last week that I had been on a couple of dates and just wasn't ready. You know, made me realize that I wasn't ready for something new, and that that's a collar. These are my, and I have, yes, I have put the thing in. Yeah, I wasn't ready for a new relationship, and one of the guys took it really, really well, and we are still chatting, and you know, he's become a friend, which is really nice. You know, like, it was great. He was like a proper gentleman about it, and the other one went crazy, so much so that I've submitted my first Tinder nightmare story, because it was just like, wow. He was definitely one of those guys who's like, I'm the nice guy, until something doesn't go his way, and then suddenly it was just like, oh, this is not fun. You are not the nice guy. You are not the nice guy you think you are. Wow. Because he went properly nuts on me, to the point where I blocked him on WhatsApp, and then he started messaging me on Messenger, so on the Apple messaging service, so I blocked him on that. Then he managed to keep messaging me on my messaging service on my laptop, so I blocked him on that. I blocked him on Tinder as well. And yeah, he got a little bit, he didn't call me any names, but he implied a lot of things, but he didn't call me any names. But yeah, it was really quite uncomfortable, and one of those ones where it was just like, okay, I shan't poke my head out from this rock for quite a while, kind of thing. And then it was like, no, that's stupid. Just because you have a bad experience doesn't mean you should never do the thing again. As I said, I'm not ready, so I don't want to actually do the thing again for a while for that reason, but not because this guy went crazy on me. But I came out of the cinema last night, and he'd found me on Facebook and had messaged me on Facebook as well. And it was just like, my dude, I mean, to be fair, it was sort of an apology. He, you know, he was just like, the timing wasn't right for me either. Thinking about it, I just got carried away. I didn't handle your decision well. I don't think he actually said sorry. But it was just like, even if you've realized that, tracking somebody down again, and I didn't even know his surname. I didn't even know his surname, right? So I had no way. I knew of him as X, and that was it. I didn't know what his full name was. Stupidly, my WhatsApp has my full name on it, which I'm going to change. But yeah, he tracked me down on Facebook and messaged me on there. And like I say, it was sort of an apology, but it was just a bit like, I'm sorry, but after you've gone off on someone like that and they've blocked you from 4 different devices or 4 different applications from contacting them, please stop contacting them. Even if it is to say sorry, just know. Just know. So yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Let's see. The only trouble when you have Google Chrome open is that everything gets this little notification in the corner, and I don't want it. The Crazy Real Vintage Thrifter says, hi, all from Wisconsin. Great to be here. Good morning, all. Don't forget to hit that like button. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. 128 of us and 34 likes. Vanessa says, hello, everyone. Hope it's all as well. Hope everyone is well. Very well, thank you, Nessa. And you? Sal says, medic, Sean is sewing early in the hangout. Yeah, what is going on? Nimue says, I bought my first spool of cotton thread this week because I want to give hand quilting a go, and I thought I'd experiment a bit. Ooh, nice. Yvonne says, morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Very well, thank you, Yvonne. And you? Noelia says, hello, Shan and Peeps. Hope you're all well. Thought you might like to know that I finally finished my daughter's 7537 dress, hacked it to be a maxi dress with short puff sleeves and raised the neckline. Nice. Very nice. Lollapalooza says, I prefer Coates and Clark's thread. I find Gutermann is not what it used to be. See, I don't like Gutermann thread overly much. Not a fan. But again, no, everyone has their own preferences. Noelia says, I also fully lined it, including the sleeves. Nice. Julie says, hi, Peeps. Hi, Julie. How are you? Kathleen says, my favourite part of sewing is matching fabric and patterns and, of course, wearing my makes. But you've got to do all the stuff in the middle to get there. Yeah, I know. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just take a length of fabric out and just be like, oh, I like this. And it would look amazing as this dress. And then it was done. It's the actual, and now I have to do the thing. I have a vote up on Patreon at the moment for the next Recreate the Look dress that I'm going to do. And it's looking very much like it's going to be a Rixo dress. And that's really good because I've had this dress in mind for ages. And it's something that I'm like, oh, I'll get to it. But having the kind of Patreon peeps just be like, yeah, let's see this one next has been really helpful. So I might start putting some votes up like that on Patreon. So I'm just being really sort of precise or finicky and trimming off any of the excess interfacing little pieces. Usually, I mean, if it's not too bad, then I won't bother. But some of them, there's a good sort of like almost 1/4 inch hanging over the edge here. So that needs to go so that I can accurately sew these pieces back together. But yeah, the Tinder Nightmare guy, that's going to be his new nickname. I haven't written a blog post for a while about my dating disasters. Because that used to be sort of like the bread and butter of my blog, because Kittenish Behaviour was when I started it as a blog about the stuff that I got up to in London. And at the time, dating. Although when I very first started the blog, I was kind of dating someone. But that didn't last very long because he wasn't ready for a relationship. And I was. So that was the end of that one. Yeah. Let's see. Julie says, hi, Sean. How are you doing, my darling? Wait, aren't you with Wilson anymore? No, we broke up in February, unfortunately. And I am still not over it. I don't necessarily want actual him back because there were lots of problems, and really thinking about it, I was brushing a lot of stuff under the rug and ignoring a lot of stuff that was bugging me. So breaking up was the right decision. It wasn't my decision. I was trying to fight for us to work on the relationship. But really thinking about it now, yeah, we weren't right for each other. So now I've just got to do the hard thing about getting over him, which is going to take a while, because when it was good, it was really, really good. And I was very much in love, and I still am, which sucks, which is why I'm not ready for another relationship. But I don't necessarily want him back. I want the idea of what he and I could have been back, if that makes sense. So yeah. Natalie says, there's nothing worse than a self-proclaimed nice guy. Ugh, you dodged a bullet, totally. So Colette says, morning peeps, good morning. Julie says he sounds like a creep. Yep. Lollapalooza says, yeah, expected to catch the crazy early. Yeah. Sewing in PJ says, unfortunately, lots of crazies out there. Another reason to not give your info out, your home, etc. Yeah, I mean, there comes a point where you have to kind of give somebody your number so you can arrange meeting up and chatting outside of the dating app, because the dating app's chat interface is pretty shoddy. So there does come a point where you should, you know, like make a choice to share that kind of info. But yeah, no, I told him that I lived in Shanklin, but didn't tell him the address. So yeah. But there you go, one of those things, you live and learn and all that nonsense. So let's pin some stuff together so that I can sew some stuff. Yeah, I mean, who knows what was going on in his life. I'm sure that it wasn't all about me, because of course it wasn't all about me. There was other stuff going on in his life, 100%, but it was just a little bit like, wow, okay. So yeah, but there you go. Sal says he is a stalker and what he did is 100% harassment. You're not the only person to think that. But yeah, I am just block and move on. Thankfully, I don't have like a workplace for anyone to turn up to kind of thing, so that's good. But yeah, had that happen before in the past. Fun times. Nimoy says, an apology that makes you add sort of is not an apology. I'm trying to remember if he actually did say sorry. I think he might have done. I think I might be doing him a slight disservice there. Let's have a look. No, his first word was sorry. Sorry, I went off on one the other day. Yeah, but still, if you've been blocked on lots of different things, tracking someone down to then say sorry is still kind of invasion of privacy kind of thing. So yeah. Natalie says, yeah, but he needs you to know that he's a nice guy. You have to validate his niceness. Yeah, exactly. It's a bit like, it's not how it works. Sarah says, morning, everyone. Good morning. Nimue says, take your time getting back into the game. I'm glad you got a nice sounding friend out of this attempt. Yeah, no, the other one, he's, you know, like, he's very nice. We have a lot in common, just wasn't right. I'm not ready yet, which is the problem. So yeah. Anessa says, I'm well, thank you, Sean. Getting my Sojo back finally, I think. Lol. Oh, nice. Yes, I think me too. I think I am very slowly getting my Sojo back as well, which is very nice. I have missed it. Let's see. Marissa says, hi peeps from Brisbane. I went to the quilt show today and had the most brilliant time. Oh, amazing. Good evening and how lovely. I'm very much looking forward to the quilt show, Festival of Quilts in August, because it would be nice to do something, and also because I'll be allowed to buy fabric then. Plus I'll be working at it for some of the days as well, which is going to be cool. Mim says, my machine only likes Ackerman or Goodman yarn, but that's okay. Yeah, Mum maintains that her machine hates my thread, but I made an entire bag on it the other day with my thread and it was fine. So it's just Mum that doesn't like my thread. But again, it's no problem. I'm not saying everyone has to like the same thing, because God, that would be boring. Oh, the comments on the pattern clashing video were interesting, because quite a few of you liked the spots with the large prints together. And like some of you were just like, no. And that's the spots there. Like, they are a medium-sized spot. I'm thinking maybe a smaller spot might have worked slightly better, but I still think it's an interesting experiment. And then someone had quoted an article just saying that, yes, spots, stripes and ginghams can be classed as a neutral for pattern clashing, which I very much sort of thought was the case. So yeah, but it was quite interesting hearing your guys' opinion, because some of you were just like, no, and some of you were like, yeah. And then others were like, you do you, which is basically the overriding theme of this channel, isn't it? It's like, you know, you do whatever makes you happy. Right, let's get those sewn. Oh, I do love this print. I've got the snakes upside down on my back, but never mind. The stag beetles are the right way up. Julie says, I'm fine, thanks. My darling girl has her 11th birthday tomorrow. Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow. How lovely. Kathleen says, I recently opened an Instagram account. I've had scans of men start following me for some reason. I've been widowed for 4 years and I'm not looking for a man. Makes me a bit uncomfortable. I have to say, I don't get that at all. And I have my little KB cat logo as my Instagram thingy. So maybe change your little profile picture to like a sewing icon or something like that. Maybe, possibly. Julie says, well, I've been missing a lot, I guess. Might have to come here more often. The Crazy Real Vintage Thrifter says, hindsight is great for the mind, but not so much for the heart. The wrong guys are life's way of telling life's way to tell you to meet the right guy. Caroline says, Mark offers his services as big brother to scare off that type of person. If you make separates, then you can pattern clash to your heart's content. Exactly. That's what I'm planning on doing. Marissa says, I tried very hard not to buy fabric, but I did buy some templates and patterns. Took my mum, who hates sewing, but she ended up having a lovely time, which was a relief. Haha! Oh, awesome. Adele says, I struggle with mixing patterns, but love buying dresses like that. Oh, yeah. So another one is that floral. I'm going to buy a small red viscose spot to make a frill for the floral viscose that I have. I think that's going to look lovely. And again, pattern clashing, but I would never have thought of that without seeing somebody else's post first. Right, so I am French seaming this, but because these are princess seams, I'm going to sew 3/8 of an inch first, and then sew the 1/4 of an inch seam second. And I didn't do that for my cream shirt, and I have noticed that there's a little bit of a difference because I haven't been able to clip the princess seams. So I'm hoping that this will just make this sit and lie a little bit better, because I think it will. I think it will. Okay. I do really like this little shirt. You guys haven't seen me wear it very often because I do think it's a very summery shirt, but I will start wearing them with my skirts a little bit more now that we are finally coming into some reliably and consistently warm weather. There were loads of trailers at the cinema last night that I hadn't seen before because I've been going to see kind of like PG rated movies. I mean, this was only a 12A in the UK, but Bullet Train, I hadn't seen I hadn't even known what that one was, but it looks really cool. So I should be watching that when that comes out. And then Lightyear, cannot wait for that. And the new Baz Luhrmann Elvis story looks very cool, so I should be watching that. And yeah, Tom Hanks amazing. Cannot wait for Love and Thunder in July. Very excited about that. And they were showing trailers for Mission Impossible and Dead Reckoning, which is coming out in 2023, and it also looks like it's going to be a two-parter. So that was very interesting as well, because I definitely want to go and see that one. Right, so that's the bodice side back. That can go in there. So now we're going to sew on the yoke, and the yoke gets burritoed, so that gets sewn on with a regular 5/8 of an inch seam allowance with the right sides together. Natalie says, do you sew French seams even when you fully line a bodice? No. So if I'm fully lining a bodice, I will do nothing to my seams because the fabric is protected from wear and tear by the lining, and you know, it's not rubbing against the body, and also with washing and stuff like that. And again, I've never had anything disintegrate on me. I think the only time I've ever done anything to seams inside of a garment that the garment was going to be fully lined is when I was making a coat out of some flocked velveteen kind of brocade fabric, which I still have some down there. And that stuff was literally disintegrating as you looked at it. So I overlocked all of the seams for that coat so that I could sew it together without it falling apart on me. Which was very, very needed. But yeah, for a fully lined bodice, now I don't bother French seaming. With my 8577, the skirt of that, I actually sew with regular seams and then pink the edges of it. And I've done that for every single 8577 that I've done. And I do that because I sew it with sometimes a 3/8 of an inch, sometimes a 1/2 inch seam allowance rather than the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So technically I could French seam it if I added a bit more seam allowance to it, or if I was really careful with the sew and turn. But I kind of cheated with the 8577, and rather than make the size bigger, which really didn't fit me, I kind of play with the seam allowances on this one. So yeah, all my 8577 skirts, if you have a look at them on the inside, they're all pinked. And my philosophy with that is, if it's good enough for Dior, it's good enough for me. Teresa says, hello all, I need to watch this later, although it's a Sunday, it's also work day for me. Anxious to see the whole hangout, must make money so can buy fabric, lol. Teresa, totally understand, no worries, you do you go work and come hang out with us later. Nimora says, I'm also almost done with my princess seam version of the 7626, just some hand finishing to do on the lining, and then the hem needs to do its thing because I keep forgetting to hang it up as it is. Anessa says, I've decided I need to rejig my closet because I'm running out of room to put things I made, lol. And Julie says, Nim away, I'm making a longbow at the moment. Oh wow, very cool. Definitely not sewing related. Very cool indeed. Yeah, seam finish, like for example, this bit that I'm sewing here is going to get enclosed in fact, how did I do this last time? No, I do the shoulder seams first, and then I roll it up to fit into this one. So yeah, this seam that I'm sewing now is going to be enclosed by the burrito yoke, so all of the raw edges will be inside 2 layers of fabric. So I am just sewing it as a regular 5/8 of an inch seam with the right sides together. But anything that is going to be next to the body and unprotected, then I will French seam it or bias bind it, or sometimes overlock it, as I've said previously, but I don't really like how overlocking looks on the inside of woven garments. And that is purely a personal preference. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And if it's your favorite finish, as I've said many, many times, you do you. Like, whatever your favorite finish is, you do that one. I just happen to like French seams. And as I've also mentioned, the reason for that is because I was terrified of my overlocker for the longest time. So I didn't use it. It just sat in the little cubby hole at the bottom of my sewing table, gathering dust and being very expensive for a paperweight. And when I finally started using it, I'd already gotten to the point where French seams were my jam. So, you know, now I French seam everything. So I'm just trimming down the seam allowance on this French seam so that I can go and press these. So I'm pretty much doing all the sewing that I can do before I have to get up and go to the ironing board to press everything. And then we'll go and do pressing and then the next round of sewing. Okay, there's one side done. Let's do the other. Are there any films coming up this year that you guys are really excited about watching? Laurel's here, morning all. Good morning. Sal says Bram Stoker's Dracula turned 125 years old this week. Very cool. You bought a signed copy from his great nephew last time you were here, you said that, I think. Julie says, I've wanted to make one since I was 18 or 19. Very cool though, Julie. Caroline says to Julie, be careful when you take the bow off the tiller. Last one we made had hidden flaw and exploded when the pressure released. Oof, ouch. Nimue says to Julie, keep your dream close to your heart and their time will come. What an amazing project. So Clot says, I'm frantically trying to make some clothes for a holiday on Thursday. Can anyone recommend what to do? Any patterns with 3 meters of double gauze, please? I've never worked with a double gauze. I have 2 lengths of 3 meters there, and then I've got another grey one up there. I've seen a couple of French poetry Pleiades dresses in double gauze that look amazing. And I am totally thinking of copying that idea. But what else do you guys? Because I think 3 meters should be enough for those as well. But what else do you guys think? Inquiring minds want to know. Julie says, Caroline, thank you. I'm afraid this one has a flaw too. Oh no. And Julie says to Nimue always. Caroline says it was spectacular. Oof. Jenna Lee says, good morning from Ohio. My mum and I already have plans to see Elvis when it comes out. Yeah. Mim says, I'm waiting for Avatar 2. Oh, yes. They didn't have a thing for that last night, but that looks amazing, doesn't it? Christine says, I made the Nina Lee spring dress from double gauze. Ooh, nice. Very nice. Okay, so that can go into the pressing pile. Now I need to try and decide which bias binding to use for this. I think it's going to be this one. I am going to need to make a little bit of bias binding, but I've got so little of this fabric left that I want to just reserve it for the, oh, there's a bit I didn't trim off there. I want to reserve it for the armholes because that's how they're going to need to be finished. Let's have a look, see how many scraps of this I've got. They are over here. Oh, maybe I have enough to... I did make bias binding out of the 60 centimetre piece of the viscose, turquoise viscose that I had, and I ended up with 16 meters of bias binding from that one, which is more than enough for the dress that I am making, which is awesome. Let's see. That's not going to work. Maybe. Oh, maybe. That's not going to work, and that's not going to work. So it would help if I turned the iron on, wouldn't it? Let's do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to order some new bias binding, unless I go for a very different colour. That could look quite nice with it. It's very in your face. Don't need to worry about this one being so see-through. But yeah, my selection of green is really only this kind of khaki one. But like I say, I need to have enough bias binding to use for the armholes. That is the important part. So let's see what we can get from these scraps. Because if I can get enough from these scraps, because I don't really need that much for the bodice. Oopsie. But like I say, definitely need to make sure I've got enough for the armholes, which I think I will have. I think I will have. Okay. So organised chaos over here. So this one, I don't have a piece that is actually, oh, that definitely needs ironing as well. Let's go and give it a quick press. So we don't get any wonky bias binding. That would not be good. Okay, so I mean, this is one of those scraps that, like, I wasn't going to throw it away because it was far too big to be thrown away, but it was also one of those ones that's like, what do you do with this? And I think I've perhaps, you can see the warp and the weft of the fabric, so I should be able to work out what the bias is. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I I made the bias binding yesterday out of that big piece of the viscose teal that I had left over, and it wasn't until I was sewing it all together, I'd cut it out, I was sewing it all together individually, that I realized that it was like, oh, this would have been the perfect piece to do the continuous bias binding method with. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Okay. These bits are going to be way too small, but I'm just going to carry on with the lines so that I have the right kind of line, or the right angle on this other weird random piece that I've got here. Then we'll have to cut it all out and sew it all together and then press it. But I'm definitely going to have enough to, whoopsie, to do the armholes and the facing pieces. I'm not going to have enough for the 8577, which is a little sad, but never mind. I think getting a shirt and a huge skirted shirt dress at 5 meters is pretty good. And I think I've got some hair scrunchies as well, because we all know how I like a hair scrunchie. Okay, so I'm just gonna catch up with the chat, and then we can go and get my scissors so we can chop this out. Noelia says, I've seen the Tilly and the Buttons Lotta dress made with double gauze and it looks lovely. I don't know that one. I'll have to check that out. Sal says, yeah, a signed copy from his great-grand-nephew, whom I have talked with to my Dracula novel, or more accurate to how Bram wrote his Dracula's powers, weaknesses. Nimue says, I have double gauze broidering in glaze earmarked for the sew over at Marguerite. I thought the gathers should work well with that material. Ooh, pretty. Caroline says, just bought my 15-year-old niece her first bow and set of arrows. She's very excited. Cool. Julie says, for the sewing part of my hobbies, I want to make a puddle skirt on my 1950s hand-turned sewing machine. Very nice. Mim says, I made a Simplicity 8013 in mini version out of black double gauze. I can imagine that would look very striking. Marissa says, ooh, I like the golden yellow. Yeah, it is pretty, and I might use that for my 8577 because it needs binding for the facings and for the hem, although I might face my facing for that one, possibly. Sue says, McCall 7116, nice and gauze. Sal says, I'm looking forward to seeing Top Gun 2, New Jurassic Park, yes. Thor 4, which was filmed here in Sydney, yes, that one too. Yeah, the new Jurassic Park also, that's another one that I was watching trailers for. That looks really cool. So Colette says, thank you for the suggestions. I hear the Tilly and Buttons Lotta dress isn't too difficult. I love the fact that we can just download patterns now. It's just the sticking together that's the pain. Yes. Noelia says to So Colette, I always get it printed as A0 as I never get on well with sticking patterns together. Anessa says to So Colette, yes, I hate that part. So I ordered a projector to try it out. It's supposed to be in this week. I'm excited. Ooh, very cool. Let us know how you get on. Carolyn says, I love a PDF pattern. The tissue paper mess is awful. Tears too easy, and I'm very careful. Then ironing it and tracing it. Yeah, I'd rather just tape and cut. See, I don't mind the tissue paper too much, but I don't know. I think it's just because that's what I'm used to. So yeah. I much prefer a printed pattern to a PDF, I have to say. But then obviously, if you need to make stuff in time for Thursday, then you can't wait for an order and it be, oh, excuse me. You can't wait for it to be delivered and sent to you. There's a giant black cloud descending on us. That's not good. Caroline says, Mark has bought me the 7-metre length of Lady McElroy Paradise in cotton lawn just because I have a length of the same in this Sierra cotton sateen. What possibilities? I love that print so much. I do love that print so much. So Colette says to Noelia, A0 would be great, but not so instant. Anessa, I actually do have a projector. Maybe I should try that out. Interesting. Let us know how you get on. Julie says, I think I'll go now. Have a very nice rest of your day. Or you too, Julie. Nice to see you. Michelle says, so when you're doing a French seam, do you add extra to the seam allowance? It depends. If the pattern comes with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, then no, I will work with that. You can technically do it with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but it is tight because you do have to, sew at a 1/4 of an inch, trim, press, and sew at a 1/4 of an inch, and you want to account for that turn of cloth. If it's a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, like one of the Till the Sun Goes Down patterns, then yes, I'll bring it back to 5/8 of an inch. I know when Angela Clayton does hers, she uses an inch of seam allowance, which is her preference. And so, whatever works for her, go for it. Awesome, brilliant. As I've said, whatever works for you, you do you. So yeah, I rarely change the seam allowance because the majority of patterns I work with come with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. But Lacala's 3/8 of an inch now and then sometimes is as well. So I will adjust it if I need to. But I like working with 5/8 of an inch because that's just what I'm used to. Michelle says to Julie, it's been good to see you. How have you been? Anessa says to Carolyn, have you tried ironing wax paper onto your tissue to strengthen it? Louisa Evans says, hello, I always watch, love your channel, but first time saying hi, and I'm sewing too, so it's a good day. Welcome, thank you for joining us. And what are you sewing? Right, let me just grab my shears so that I can cut out this bias binding that I have traced or marked. I'm getting this quite a large collection of bias binding that I've made this year, which is nice. And before anyone tells me that I should be using a rotary cutter and a mat, I don't like them. I prefer scissors. So I shall use scissors. Now, if this was a slipperier fabric like the viscose, then I would be doing this on the table, but because it's cotton lawn, so it's going to behave itself fairly well. I say fairly well. Carolyn says, if I need a pattern, it is faster to order a PDF. I live in a very rural area of Texas, the Texas Panhandle. With gas prices especially high, can't just drive over an hour and a half for a pattern. Oh wow, yeah. Definitely. And that's the thing, there's nowhere on the island that actually stocks sewing patterns, so I have to order them by post or PDF. I will not stick the PDFs together anymore. I do not like it. It's one of the reasons I haven't done anything from the Boundless Style book, although I do need to find like an office supplies place that prints stuff and see if they can work some magic on it and print it out for me on A0, because it comes with a DVD or a CD-ROM or something like that. Wow, there's a CD in the back of the book that has all the pieces in it, but apparently you can only print them on A4, which I hadn't realised, and I probably wouldn't have bought the book if I had realised that that was the only option. I don't even have a computer that works with an external, with a drive that would take a CD anymore, because my laptop, I did buy a plug-in drive, but it, touchscreen sewing machine. See? Yeah, I did buy an external CD drive for my laptop, but I managed to break it. I've no idea how. And I haven't replaced it because I just don't need it this day and age, really. So I do need to take this CD, boundless style CD, to like somewhere like Staples or something like that, although I'm not sure if Staples even exists anymore, because there was one in Newport, but it's now turned into a gym. So I need to whoopsie. Ah! Saying to Mum the other day, I was like, I haven't put the protective glass back on my phone because I prefer how it feels without it. And so far I haven't cracked the screen, but I do keep throwing it around like that, which I need to not to do. Thankfully that one landed on its case, so it was okay, but yeah. Louisa says the Logan Shacket from Style Arc are doing the collar now. My second one, so it's emotional. Lol. Oh no. Hope it works for you this time. The Crazy Real Vintage Thrifter says, going to an early morning flea market. Have a great day all. Hey, don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, there's 144 of us and 60 likes. Carolyn says to Vanessa, no ma'am, haven't, but that would take yet another step. With a PDF, I can print, place, tape, and trim. Nimue says, what I love most about PDF patterns is that it opens us up to so many international designers. Took advantage of the Jennifer Lauren sale twice this week, but A0 printed for me. Thanks. Yeah, I just got to the point where I'm just like, I don't enjoy sticking these together. It's not fun. Anessa says, that's true, Caroline. You should definitely do what works best for you. I just said it in case there was a tissue pattern you really wanted. Yeah, some of them don't come as PDFs. And I've never downloaded a McCall's or Vogue or Butterick PDF, but I did hear that they weren't on A0. I just really like having the pattern, like the physical envelope. I will always buy the physical pattern over a PDF. That's why I've not bought any Gertie patterns recently. I've got a couple of gift vouchers from her from Patreon that actually I think one runs out soon, but she's not having her patterns printed at the moment because of the changes that are happening in the printing locations. I think there were 2 in the US and one is closed down. It's all being rehoused under the one place, I believe. So I was waiting for her to start having them printed again. But I think one of my discounts, like I say, is going to run out next month. So I probably ought to have a look at maybe like the Bolero pattern, one of the smaller ones that's not got so many pieces in it. For me, and again, this is for me, and again, as Carolyn says, you know, living far away from stuff and having to have stuff delivered to you does make a difference. And for me, by the time I have bought the PDF pattern, paid to have it printed and then sent to me, it's just as expensive as the physical pattern, if that is an option. And I know I'm not saying, you know, like immediacy of being able to buy a pattern, print it out, stick it together and work with it the same day is amazing. And I am not saying that anyone is wrong or that my way is the only way, because we all know that I do not agree with that at all. Whatever works for you is the good thing. I just think it's pretty. Let's see. Michelle, Julie says to Michelle, I've been doing great, just had a week off work. Nimue says, decided to do my own math on a quilt pattern because it only comes printed and the shipping was rather ridiculous. Oof, ouch. Yeah, there's some stuff that I would like that it does come with ridiculous shipping on. So there's also that to build into the cost as well. I mean, I'm very lucky living where I do. The majority of people recognise the Isle of Wight as like the UK, so it's not too bad. But yeah, Carolyn says to Nimue, I agree. Indie designers save sewing for me. The Big Four had nearly crushed my sewing soul. Oh no. Michelle says to Julie, that's so nice. A week off work is always nice. Nimue says Staples Germany is bankrupt as of this month. You might also be able to read the CD and send the files off to be printed from a public library. What I want is somebody that will stitch the A4 pieces together into an A0. I believe that that's a possibility. I think some of you guys told me that that was a possibility. So yeah. Michelle says, do any of you sew children's patterns? If so, there are any designer pattern makers that you like more than others? Louisa says, thanks, fingers crossed, liked, thank you. Sal says, hey Sian, just uploaded the full drone show to YouTube. Did you want to see it? And if so, I'll put it on the Peeps group. Don't put it on the Peeps group just because there's a couple of times people have just flagged stuff for it not being sewing related. But feel free to message me because I would love to have a look. Michelle says to Julie, it is nice to live in a country that takes great care of their children. Julie says, yes, please. Yes, Sal, please. Michelle says, we're lucky. Julie says to Michelle, we're lucky. Louise says, Michelle, I like simplicity toddler patterns, but I've only done dresses they always look lovely and simple. Michelle says, oh, thank you. Okay, thank you to Louisa. Sorry, I keep saying it's Louise, don't I? Louisa, my eyesight is that bad that the A and the E are just, I'm struggling to define the two. Laurel says, uh-oh, anyone else experiencing glitches? Oh, no. And Michelle says to Julie, yes, you are. So Colette says, I'm with you, Sian. Love to have the physical pattern and trace it, but sometimes you just need that instant gratification. Yep, definitely. Michelle says, yes, I'm experiencing glitches every other bleep of sound. Oh no. Julie says, Michelle, we're lucky like that in Denmark. Laurel says, I have smooth audio, but the sound is weird. Oh dear. Monica says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sian. Good morning. Laurel says, left and came back fine now. Oh, cool. Okay. Sewing in PJ says, is there a nicer sound than scissors cutting fabric? I know what you mean. Sal says, okay, I'll message you the clip. Thank you, Sal. Only just that a few other people have kind of said, oh, flag stuff for being like, this is not sewing related in the sewing chat. And it's like, I can kind of see their point. But yeah, I would like to see. Nimue says, I missed the part about it only being A4. The plotting service I use does the stitching files together thing, but it's expensive. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm just never going to use that book. It's a really nice book. I like the idea of it, but probably not. Michelle says, yes, you are to Julie. Monica says, yes, I have the bleeps on sound too. It's not my side. Yeah, definitely try leave and come back. Christine says, Poppy and Jazz make lovely children's wears patterns. Nimue says, glitch for a bit, but seems to be running again now. Michelle says, mine is better now. Good. Caroline says, I did, but it seems okay now. Cool. Michelle says, what's the book? Kin Carly says, it's okay now. Cool. Okay. The book, can I reach it? It's right over in the corner. Let's see if I can. It's by Victory Patterns. It's called Boundless Style. So like the whole premise of it is it's one of those kind of like mix and match things. So there's a bunch of sleeves, a bunch of bodices, and then a bunch of skirts, and you can put them together in loads of different ways. Yeah, there we go. So we've got 5 different types of bodices. Probably help if I looked at the pages, wouldn't it? 90 is sleeves and 122. So you've got the different bodices there. Then you've got the different sleeve types there. And then there's also there's also 5 different types of skirts. And then you can obviously combine all of those different pieces into different styles of dresses, and they've done examples of that, and they all fit together. So the arm size is the same for all of them, etc., etc., which I really liked the idea of. I mean, realistically, I have all of those patterns in my big 4 patterns if I really looked. So it's just, yeah, and it not being A0, and if I have to have it stitched together, that's 15 different patterns that would need to be stitched together. I mean, maybe the sleeves I could do, because they're not going to be super giant pattern pieces, you know, so they're not going to be like, and maybe should do the bodices and just get the skirts done, but then the skirts, I don't know. I mean, I'm, you know, it's one of those things. I bought the book because I like the idea of it, but yeah. Julie says, Michelle, we also pay about 40% in taxes. Michelle says to Caroline, I went back as in, oh God, I went back as in slid the red bar back and then slid it back to current on live, and it seemed to straighten it out. Oh, okay. Anessa said PDF Stitcher is free and it's in a whole bunch of languages. Oh, that's cool. Michelle says that's a lot of taxes as well. Caroline says if you can Google create A0 from A4, it walks you through the process. You could then save the PDF and send it off. I still need to buy another. I'd still need to buy a CD reader because mine doesn't work, and you know that's a good 100 odd quid. So yeah. Heather says, what book is Sian looking at? It is Boundless Style by Victory Patterns. Monica says, you look beautiful, Sian. What dress are you wearing? Thank you. It's the McCall's 7974. There's a sew along for this one. Caroline says to Michelle, thanks, was buried under a dog at the time. Michelle says, I'm not sure. Carolyn says, what a fun book. Rachel's here. Hi, everyone. Made it today. I hope everyone is well. Hi, Rachel. Lovely to see you. It's a really lovely book. That's why I kind of want to print it out and try some stuff from it. But then thinking about it, like, yeah. Vanessa says, hello, Rachel. Michelle says to Caroline, very welcome. Michelle says, can you not set it off to PDF Plotters kind of company? Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do. But it's just, there's a couple of people saying that stitching it all together is going to be quite expensive, which I can imagine. Natalie says there is a universal healthcare education social program, maintained infrastructure, then high taxes are worth it. And just to remind you guys that this is definitely not the place for political discussion, because it will get right out of my depth really, really quickly. And I realize that's not what you guys are doing, but it could very easily head in that direction. Julie says for that we get roads without holes, free hospital and doctor visits, free education, free school up until you have to buy your own books. And that's the only thing you have to buy. Sal says, Sian, where should I message you? The Kittenish Behaviour page should be able to message me on there, Sal. Nimoy says to Vanessa, thanks for the tip. I have had at least one large pattern that needs stitching together. I'd gladly have it reprinted because the taped version is so messy. Natalie says, I'm experiencing fear of cutting into my pretty fabric. Oh, I know about that fear. So Colette says, hi Sian, random non-sewing question, but how is your curly wavy hair journey going? I have not really done anything about it because I want to buy some of the products that you guys have mentioned, and I kind of had a look at my beauty cupboard, as it were, and I have a lot of shampoo and conditioner in there. I'm a member of Function of Beauty, so I have a couple of those. So I kind of want to use all the stuff that I've got already before I buy new stuff. But when I do need to get to buying new stuff, I'm going to try the curl stuff because I do think I have at least wavy hair. So I've kind of put it on hold for the moment, but I will be doing it at some point. Julie says teachers don't have to buy things they use in class themselves. Michelle says, do you know someone else who has the CD reader, then put them on a flash drive so you can use it on your computer when it's all stitched together, when they stitch it all together? I actually don't know anyone that has a computer with a CD reader on it anymore. I really, really don't. Yeah, I really don't. Louisa says, no worries, I normally get called Lou. Love that book. Oh, cool. Sorry, but Louisa, it is me just being blind as a bat, not me being rude. Sorry. Michelle says to Julie, that's cool. Julie says, sorry, Sian. Don't worry, Julie, it's fine. Julie says, Michelle, we have so many things to be grateful for here. Michelle Brown says, local library. I wouldn't know. I don't think our local library is tiny. It might do, though. To be fair, I mean, as much as I love that book and want to try it, I have got a million things also that I want to get to, and so it's not giantly high up on the priority list. At some point I will, but yeah. Nimoy says, you know me, I bought a CD DVD reader for my Mac because I need it. Totally happy to help. Thank you. I did the same, and then it's broken, and I just haven't taken it to a Genius Bar appointment, which I probably ought to do, but there you go. But thank you again. I'm going to sort this out myself at some point, but it's one of those things where it's just like I have so many other things that I want to get to, so it's not very high up on the priority list. Vanessa says, I have two, Sian, but that's not helpful at all the way in Canada, lol. Caroline says, P and I have two CD-ROM readers. I'll send you the files after I play around. Oh, thank you so much, Caroline. Again, don't worry though, because like I say, it's not a priority. If I get it done now, it's just going to be money spent on something that's not going to get used for a while. So really don't worry about it. Michelle says, they have a computer with a CD reader. Okay, just trying to be a bit helpful. What is the name of the book? No, very helpful, Michelle. Definitely very helpful. I just haven't been into a local library for years, and I know the one here is tiny. They probably will have exactly what you say they will. So yes, no, that was a very helpful suggestion. Thank you. But like I say, it's not a huge priority at the moment. So thank you, but don't worry about it. Natalie says, my sister keeps an old MacBook around for those kinds of computer things because we have come into problems like that, lol. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've had two external CD drives, one for my Mac desktop and one for my laptop. Both of them are broken, and Mum and Dad's Mac desktop had an inbuilt one, but that's broken as well. So I mean, that one is sort of 14 years old, so it's not overly surprising. and we still have it because we need to take it to the Genius Bar for them to rescue all the photos off of the hard drive. But the local Genius Bar is in Southampton, so it means a day over on the mainland with the car, which is an expensive undertaking. So I will at some point I will get to it, but like I say, I pretty much have all of those shapes. There's nothing like super unique in there. I have all those shapes and patterns that I already have. It's just one of those things where I got carried away and like, oh, I really like this, I want to buy the book. So I did. But I've got all my deer and doe patterns to get through. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. Like I want to get through all my French poetry patterns. The first one that I'm going to try is the Loon dress, by the looks of things, according to the Patreon peeps who are voting currently on what So Recreate the Look I should try next. So yeah. Okay, that's all of the strips cut out. So now I just need to sew them together, press them, and then we'll have some bias binding. Caroline says, Mark says it keeps me out of mischief. Julie says, I also have the CD reader in my laptop. You could just send it over and I'll send them to you via Google Drive. Thank you. Thank you very much for all the offers, everyone. It's very, very kind of you. It really is. Kathy says, off to church. See the cat in the box later. See you later. Enjoy. Moran says, this is funny. My location, I had only Birder available, and when I discovered PDF, I swore not to trace any more patterns. Julie says, bye to Kathy. Teresa says, there's a company inside the hem that talks about a company that does fit A4 together to A0. Yes, I think there's a few people that do that. Like Nimoy said, though, it can be quite expensive, but if there's a free online one, I will have to work out a way of doing it myself for sure. Eliza says, sorry, what was the name of the book again? It's Boundless Style by Victory Patterns. Natalie says, honestly, I sometimes miss my old Dell desktop. Those were less complicated times and I'm not good with technology. Michelle says, what is the opinionated about the So Liberated patterns? I'm not sure I know what they are. Right. So I'm going to try and sew these together in such a way that we haven't got like all the long bits together and then all the short bits together. Try and stagger it a little bit. Try and stagger them a little bit. Adele says, do you have bias binding machine, the Simplicity one? Sorry if you've said caring for my dad, so having to leave the life. No, I don't, and apparently it's been re-released in the UK, so I'm thinking about getting one. But they are not cheap. I would say that I used to make bias binding so infrequently that it would have been like a total luxury purchase. But I actually have been making a lot more of it this year, and enjoying having it, especially for the viscose dresses. Like, I'm not worried about using the binding for the 8577 dress out of the cotton lawn of this fabric, because I don't mind the extra poof that it gives the skirt, but the it's been really nice having the correct viscose bias binding, correct weight of bias binding to use for the viscose dresses and skirts and stuff. That's been really nice, because the shop bought stuff that I make does have more structure to it than viscose. I know Atelier Brunette, you can buy pre-made bias binding that matches their fabrics, and they are beautiful. It's 50p per meter, which is not cheap, but it's also not too ridiculously expensive for what it is. I do wonder how they produce that though, because they're obviously not sitting down like I am to do it. There must be like a giant machine that does it. Well, at least I would think there would be. I don't know. I could be very wrong. They could be sitting there doing it by hand, and I'm maligning them. So, yeah. But I wanted this one to have matching bias binding for the armhole finishing, because I didn't have enough fabric to cut out sleeves for this one, which is fine, because in all honesty, I think I do prefer sleeveless. The dress that I've got on today has got sleeves on it, which have got little ties on them, this cardigan's kind of chunky enough that you don't really notice it. But anything less, anything finer than this cardigan, you definitely notice that I've got kind of like, you can see them, I've got lumps there and there. Where did I get to with the chat? Carolyn says to Michelle, I own the metamorphic dress, very nice pattern. I'm guessing that's from So Liberated. Natalie says, is anyone watching Stranger Things this weekend? I am waiting until after I cook dinner so that I can binge a bunch of episodes at once. Oh, yeah, no, I haven't started it yet. That's another one I want to do, a dress inspired by Elle's style. I think I've told you guys. Which I might actually try and do for next Friday's video, if I can get myself sorted for my schedule again. I want to do the Shelby dress in the Artistic Vibrance. Rayon or viscose that I got from Lady McElroy. Mum and Dad bought it for me for my birthday a couple of years ago, which was very nice of them. Yeah, I was kind of kicking myself yesterday when I realised, as I was at this stage, that I could have done the continuous bias binding method. It's just like, why did I not think of that earlier? Carolyn says, oh, and the Hinterland dress as well. Nice. Sal says, I watched it and finished it, just as good as ever. Awesome. I am looking forward to it. Yeah, when I was contemplating like watching the movie for the second time last night, I mean, like I said, I have a Cineworld pass and I can come as many times as I want and watch as many things of the same film as I want. There's no restrictions on it. I was like, oh well, I could go home and start Stranger Things, and it was just like, well, no, because you won't, you have to stop and you won't get all the way through it. So let's go and see Top Gun again. It was such a good movie. I'm probably going to see Love and Thunder at least sort of 2 or 3 times. I've seen Doctor Strange twice. I loved Downton Abbey. I thought that was brilliant. Really enjoyed that. Mum did as well. Yeah, it was good. It's been really nice kind of going back to the cinema again. I definitely am thinking about going back to salsa classes. On Tuesday evenings, starting to do, sort of semi-normal people things again. Thinking about it. Thinking about it. Just making a mess down here. I'm kind of just generally aiming for the scrap bag I've got down on the floor, but I'm kind of just missing it more than I'm hitting it. Right, and I keep trying to roll over my dress as well with my wheelie chair. Oh, it she does. Sar says also Obi-Wan show started as well, and the Force was strong with that one. Oh, thank goodness. I am waiting until all the episodes are out. I very much dislike having to wait a week to watch the next one. I have been spoiled. I want to watch all of my stuff all in one go. Why are they making me wait? So I am waiting patiently, sort of, until I can watch it all in one go, because that's my preference. But I'm glad to hear it's good. Natalie says that's good to hear. I've been trying to avoid spoilers reviews online, but I don't want to be disappointed. Lol. Megan's here. Good morning, peeps. Is Iceman in the new one? He was my favorite. He is. He is. Actually, there's a few returning faces. I just thought they've done it so well. Somebody compared it to T2 as like, quality of sequel, and I have to agree. I mean, I remember watching the first one and then being, completely convinced I wanted to be a fighter pilot. Unfortunately, my eyesight would not have allowed that at all, which would have sucked if I had, really wanted to pursue that. But no, my eyesight would not have allowed it. But yeah, loved it. Totally loved it. Awesome. We'll probably go and see it again. Like I say, Mum and Dad want to see it, so quite happy to take them. It is a shame Tom Cruise is slightly crazy in real life, but you know what? Each to their own, whatever floats his boat. Okay, last little bit. Yeah, when I was younger, I wanted to be either a marine biologist, a fighter pilot, or an architect. And here I am, attempting to talk and sew at the same time. And I'm the happiest I've ever been. So, yeah. Okay. Definitely got enough for the armholes and the facing pieces. There's the facing pieces. That needs a quick press. This needs some markings to be transferred over. So let's do that. Let's see. Pamisi. Oh, I can't remember if it's Priscilla or Pamela. I'm so sorry. I do this every week, don't I? It says, a very late hello to all. Hello and welcome. Natalie says, I'm rewatching The Mandalorian at the moment for the third time. I haven't heard anything about Val Kilmer reprising his role as Iceman. He does. Carolyn says, agreed for the waiting. Carolyn says, agreed the waiting. Megan says, yay, KB Hangout and Iceman cool. Yeah, he's in it. Natalie says, wow, didn't know that. Good for him. He hasn't been in anything recently. Sal says, I am a much weaker person than you, Sean. I couldn't wait. No, it's only because I'm stubborn. I'm just like, no. I want to see it all at the same time. So shall wait. Pin these together. Laurel says, the son of one of my teachers was one of the fighter pilots who flew stunts for the original Top Gun movies. So cool. So cool. Sal says, Val Kilmer has been very sick recently with throat cancer, which is why he's been off screen. It was very nice to see him in this movie. This movie got delayed release because of the pandemic, I believe. I think, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was just so good. So good. Pamela says, you are a fabric architect. I will take that. Thank you. Natalie says, oh no, that's too bad. Carolyn says, I also wanted to be a marine biologist and very professional internship very far away from home, and allowed myself to be talked out of it by a boy. I wouldn't trade a thing. Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure where the marine biologist kind of desire came from, but for a little while I was thinking that might be fun. But I was much better at chemistry than I was at biology. I did not like physics. I was in the higher level science classes for all of them. But yeah, I did not enjoy physics. Pamela says, Pamela, lol, remember it's French for Pam here. Yes. Yes. Michelle says, I've started watching Kenobi. It's awesome. I'm so grateful. So good. Nimue says, I once described sewing to a friend as 3D geometry with flexible material. Her, that's such a you thing to say. Me, I chose the words for you, a maths teacher. Very cool. Right. Let's get this collar sewn. Yeah, my thought process last night was I'm going to go home and watch the original Top Gun, or then I'm going to watch Stranger Things. And then it was just like, I looked and I was like, there's another screening of this movie. I'm going to go watch that. I mean, like I say, for the first sort of 3.5 months of the year, I really didn't use it. I used it once just after Christmas to go and see the Spider-Man movie. And then I haven't really used my Cineworld Pass since. So I am trying to make up for that. I need to phone them and tell them that I'm no longer needing London rates as well, because I pay for the London one, so that I could use it at any Cineworld. But obviously I don't need that anymore, so I need to remember to phone them and do that, because it's £21. Giant pigeons are back. And yeah, it's £21 for London and £18 for the island. So that extra £3 is like a whole bag of pick and mix, although pick and mix is not allowed on keto. And that's one thing that I've got to get out of the habit of doing, because I have been very naughty recently. I've just been indulging in all the sugar. Okay. Right, let's trim this so that I can turn it through and get some nice pointy points. Where did I get to with the chat? Monica says, okay, random question here, but Sian, I heard you mention before that you just spot wash your dresses. Can you explain to me how you do it, like soaking the underarm areas or just wet cloth and soap? If they smell, I will put them through the wash. Yeah, if I can smell me on them in that area, I will put them through the wash. If I drop something on it, you know, like a little bit of food or something, if it's not a huge obvious stain, that's when I mean spot washing, so I'll clean those things. I do use Febreze on the underarms of some of my dresses, but if I take something off and I can smell me on it, then that's when it will get washed. So I don't spot clean the underarm area. as it were. But Febreze is great and works well. So there is that as an option. Nimoy says, I think Free Willy turned a lot of our generation towards marine biology for a while. I don't think I've ever seen it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Free Willy. If I have, I've completely blocked having watched it. Kathleen says, found out when Val Kilmer was in Batman, they had that he and my late husband are cousins. Great grandmothers were sisters. Val and Mark looked a lot alike, but my husband was much handsomer. I mean, obviously, yeah. Interesting. Sal says, there is a YouTube I follow and her husband flew stealth bombers. Very cool. I think I've told you guys my granddad was in the Australian Air Force and flew Sunderland's flying boats during the Second World War. And there is a video of him landing one on land, which he's not supposed to do, on the YouTubes. But it was definitely watching Top Gear that made me want to be a pilot. There's so much math involved. Not good at the math. Laurel says, I think every kid wants to be a marine biologist at some point. I think that's the nature TV programs. Maybe. We did used to keep tropical fish as well, which I found fascinating. So, yeah, not 100% sure where that one came from, though. But it seems like it's a popular one, so not just me. Michelle says, I was going to watch Stranger Things last night too, but can't so watch that, so maybe tonight. Yes, no, that's one that I actually have to pay attention to. It's not something that I can have on in the background. I need to properly pay attention. Carolyn says, everyone wanted to sit next to me, but only in science biology. I just thought the group really liked me. It was years later that I clicked as to why. Sal says, thank you, Shan. I'm now about to watch the first Top Gun. Time to go into the danger zone again. Definitely. I think I need to watch that again as well. Carolyn says to Laurel, chalk it up to always being landlocked mermaid. I'm a nice one though. No mirror here. Yeah. Arasworm says, good morning from Canada. Such a lovely day here. Annelie. Am I getting that wrong? I probably am, aren't I? I'm sorry. Natalie says, that's why I rewatch things, so I can sew or knit and not have to pay too much attention to the show, movie. New things require no crafting or chores or family disturbances. Lol. Yeah, totally. Sophia says, hello. Hi. Sal says, so he was naughty like Maverick. Well, he was towing. Okay, Dad told me I got this wrong the other day. He was towing something which ripped out the bottom of his plane. So if he'd have landed it on water, it would have completely sunk and been lost for service. So he landed it on the ground, which you're not meant to do. And most ones of those that had landed on ground ended up in a fiery mess, which is why they were recording it, because they thought it was going to be a fiery mess. Because they filmed it all. And he successfully got his crew home. So yes, he probably, I mean, to be fair, Grandad was a bit of a character. A bit of a rogue, shall we say. But yes, he was not supposed to land it on the ground, but if he'd have landed it at sea, it would have sunk. Megan says to Sal, the need for speed and playing with the boys. If you know, before Tom Cruise's kisses Kelly, you'll see him step up onto a hidden box right before it. I'm a nerd. Ah, funny. Rachel Lynn says, good morning, all. Good morning. Carolyn says, Sal, I thought the same thing. The whiff bring mischievousness, never. Oh no, it was mum's father, not dad's father. Dad's father was in the RAF, the UK RAF, but mum's dad was Australian in the Royal Australian Air Force, so the RAAF. Christine says, I used to watch Emergency Ward 10 in the 60s. It made me want to become a nurse, which I eventually did become. Oh, cool. Megan says, wow, that's a cool story. Yes, he's written a book. It's called Singleton's War. So my surname is from my grandfather. It was my choice to change my surname to this after I was known. Well, I mean, technically I am still married. Really probably ought to get a divorce at some point. But yeah, my married surname was Afrikaans, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But so nobody could spell it, or let alone say it. I remember going to the doctors once and they're like, Sian, well, Jimodo. I was like, it's not even close, but sure. So, yeah. But yeah, there is a video. Second World War landing. Let's see, what's it called? I mean, it's not an overly interesting video unless you like, you know, aircraft and stuff like that. So landing Sunderland on the ground. What's it called? The Sunderland crash. Yes. The Sunderland crash is one of those. Sunderland flying boat crash landing on land. But yeah, if you, the first one that comes up, Sunderland crash, that's my granddad. So if anyone is interested, obviously not now, but after the stream, if you would like to go and see my granddad landing a flying boat on land, then you can do so. And he's the one that's correctly coming down the side of the plane the way that you're meant to. So he really wasn't mischievous at all. Like all of it, the rest of his crew just walked down it, and he was coming down it on all fours because that's how you're supposed to. So yeah. Natalie says, where's Top Gun streaming? Might also have to watch it just for the box kiss. I think it's on something. I've seen it for free somewhere, although I'm surprised that it's for free at the moment. I would have thought that maybe it's on Disney. I would have thought that they'd be like, yeah, and now we shall start charging everyone for this movie that's been available for all this time. Let's see. Carolyn says to Christine, I watched MASH and I thought they had such fun. Then a sad part would change my mind. Janet says, good morning from British Columbia. It's a bright morning on the West Coast. Good morning. Carolyn says, oh, I see, Sean. Well, the QQ married one like her father. Love a mischief maker. Yeah. Oh, gosh, you guys. So we were sitting at the table when we were for my birthday, and everyone was talking about how they'd met their other halves, you know, and I got to pipe up with the, well, I met Shiana. But Dad was talking about meeting Mum for like the second or third time, and he actually cried. He was just that emotional about it. He was just still, and it was just like, oh. So yeah, and then it made everyone else at the table cry because it's just like, stop it. But yeah. Christine says, I know what you mean, Carolyn. I'm enjoying China Beach at the moment. Similar thing to MASH. Carolyn says to Christine, yes, China Beach was wonderful. I'd forgotten that one. Thank you for reminding me. Megan says, thank you. I've got it locked and loaded for after this. Cool. Yeah, yes. But no, Granddad wrote a book as well. It's only a little book. It's called Singleton's War. Mum typed it up for him. Carolyn says, what a precious story, Big Softy. Yeah, I know. It was so nice, like listening to how Erica met her husband and how Jojo met hers and how Rachel met hers. And then Tatty and her boyfriend, they've been together 30 years now. And I'm like, and I met my cat. Because, yeah, I did have one of those bits of, there's kind of like, what is wrong with me moments, because I am still single. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? Because in all honesty, the one thing that all my exes have in common is me. So maybe it is something that I'm doing wrong. But I mean, clearly I can't be trusted to pick the guy, because like this last one, just like, like I thought he was a nice guy, but nope, slightly crazy. But yeah, who knows? Right, so I've got a whole bunch of ironing to do, but we have been sitting and chatting for 2 hours. Miranda says it's not you, it's them. Yeah, I mean, you do have to kind of wonder though after a while, like the one thing they all have in common is me. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm a nightmare. I mean, I know I'm hard work. I'm not saying that I'm not. I'm demanding. I know that. But yeah. But yeah, shall I? I think I'm actually going to call it a day now, guys. Because I have got a whole bunch of ironing to do, and I can take you with me. But I'm also, this has started playing up again, and I think it's talking, which is really not that great, is it? So, plus I'm hungry. But ow. Caroline says, nope, not you, just the type you are drawn to. So maybe it is me, I'm just picking the wrong ones. Janet says, it sounds like Bridget Jones's diner scene. I'm single now too. Happy snuggling with my cat, Elroy. I feel very much like you. Rachel Lynn says, hugs. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Emily D. Baker recently for obvious reasons, but I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to bring that kind of stuff into the chat either, if that's okay. I found it fascinating, but I also watched stuff all over the floor. I also watched her TED talk about sort of like the three words that will change your life kind of thing. And she was like, like, don't put yourself into little boxes, allow yourself to be so much all of you rather than just this like little I'm a lawyer kind of thing. And I just thought it was really interesting, and I was sitting there and I was thinking what I want from my life, and I do love my life. I really do love my life, but I do want to share it with somebody. There's been a few events that, like my birthday or mum's birthday party. Another one that really springs to mind was James and Nia's wedding. That I wanted my partner to come and celebrate those family life events with me. And I had a partner at the time that I was with, went to James and Nia's wedding. And I went to his dad's wedding, which was a couple of weeks before, which was not a giant party, but, not that much smaller than the James and Nia's wedding. But he wouldn't come to the wedding with me because he was like, no, too many people won't like it, won't enjoy it. He wouldn't come. And that was the beginning and the end for that one, because it made me realize that my family are incredibly important to me. I'm very close to them and I want to spend time with them. Not like, all of the time in the world forever, but, want to be able to spend time in their company. And for big important events like that, I want them to, I want my other half to come with me. And I want to travel, and I can travel by myself. I can travel with my family, which I do. But, it would be nice to go for a long weekend away somewhere to a city break and just kind of explore Barcelona with somebody. And, I went and explored Barcelona by myself when I was there last time. And then, I went and explored Rome by myself. I've done all these things, but it would be nice to do them with somebody. And I know you don't need a man to do that. And I have been on holiday with my best friend, and she really enjoyed it. So I know she'd come on holiday with me again, but she also has her partner, so who is going to be coming to Croatia with us. But yeah, it was interesting watching her TED talk about like what 3 words would just define you. And I was just like, I don't know. But I love what I do. I love my job. I love my family, and I do want someone to share the rest of my life with. So I don't want to be single, because a lot of people have just been like, oh, like Mum's friend Susan doesn't have a partner, and she's just about to turn 70, and she's fine, and she's totally happy, and she's had an incredible successful life, and has done all these things and is amazing and is happy. But I know for me, I do want someone to share things with. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see. We shall see. Someone just said that they're in pain because they're talking too much. Has just talked an awful lot, haven't they? Michelle says, I married a property crazy one. The first marriage. Used to joke I was flypaper for freaks. Megan says, the best guy I ever picked was when I decided to do the opposite, say yes to a date I would normally turn down. I failed that marriage. I feel the same way you do. I hope your TMJ feels better. Thank you. Yeah, I've had lots of people tell me that I picked the wrong one, so I've tried picking, like I've tried dating out of my comfort zone. I've tried dating people that I wouldn't, and no, none of them have worked. Natalie says, lovely chat, thank you for the company. Thank you. Michelle says, phone rang, what did I miss? Not a lot, Michelle. Janice says, well, good day to all, just turned in time to say hello and goodbye. Hi, Janice. And thank you for joining us. And goodbye, Janice. Carolyn says, if talking hurts you, I would learn sign language for you, Sean. Hope you feel better. Oh, thank you. It's fine. It's fine. Monica says, hugs, darling. Thank you for everything. Don't change a thing about you. It's them, not you. Michelle says, well, get someone like a party man, someone who can call and have on your arm until you find the one that is the right one, kind of like a special friend. The trouble with that is that anytime I've tried that in the past, they've always wanted more from me than I'm willing to give. So it's always ended up in a bit of a disaster. So I'd rather not have a disaster again. But maybe that's my problem. Natalie says it's okay to want to have a partner. Yes. Moran says, my sister was in the same situation with a guy like that. I told her she deserved a man that will make her feel like a queen. And when she understood that, it happened. She has now 1.5. She has now 1.5 boys right now. Okay, and this is good. Sarah says, I can understand that, Sean. I've been divorced and single since 2011. Lisa says, I'm with you, Sean. Mum's on her way down, so we'll wait till she comes to say hi, and then we'll finish. But anything else? Michelle says, well, just set the ground rules. Again, Michelle, you say that. Tried it, been there, done that, tried it, ended up imploding. So yeah. Hello, Mother.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Is the dog following you?
Yep.
She's going to complain about the door being shut, isn't she? It's all right. I'm just about to finish. Do you want to come and say hi and bye quickly? Catherine says, good morning. First time on to join the live. Good morning, Catherine. Jenna Lee says, I went through 2 bad relationships and stopped looking. Eventually the right one came along. My mum is kind of the one who picked him out, lol. I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking maybe I should just let them choose one. Gay says, you have to kiss a few frogs to find the right one. 50 years and going strong for us. Aww. So, yes.
You need me to choose, do you?
Well, I mean, you couldn't get it much worse than I did. So, yeah. Julian says, good morning. Just saying hi. Hi, Julian. Sal says, when you finish Top Gun, it will start. Nice. Caroline says, hi, Jane. Have the best week, peeps. I actually have some time off. Just got to work tomorrow, then not till next Monday. Nice. Enjoy. Nero says, hello, Jane. Laurel says, hi, QQ, happy belated birthday. Nero says, have a lovely rest of your Sunday, everyone. Need to get back to actual working a bit. Yeah. Okay. So I am going to say goodbye. I will see you all next week for another live hangout. Let me just check that I haven't got anything else going on. Oh, no. Lorianne and Larry will be here. I don't know what time, because they're leaving on the Sunday. They arrive on the Friday, the 3rd. We've got them all day Saturday, and then they're leaving on the Sunday, but I'm not sure what time. So there will be a live stream next week, but it might be a later start than usual. So I shall let you know as soon as I know. But yes, hopefully I'll be able to keep up with the video schedule for this week. We shall see. But it's been very fun hanging out with you and getting some of my shirt sewn. I'm going to get all those pieces ironed and then get the shirt finished, and try and talk Mum into closing the door because my ankles are cold. Don't know if she'll say yes or not though. But I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you all next week. Bye.